Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's Boardsy, and welcome to the biannual, not bi-yearly, installation of the Mousepad tier list. It's a tier list of nearly 60 mousepads. That's disgusting. Not only is it a tier list with that many, but I've used all of them. So yeah, if you want a full review of any of these, it's on my channel. So I mean, you might as well subscribe just for that reason alone. This tier list was made by Cinedote. I don't know if there's anything he wouldn't do for $30. Shout out to him. His links are in the description. But yeah, gonna get right into it. So the Xten mousepad. This is a controversial mousepad. I introduced this mousepad to the Western Hemisphere, and it's $100. It's from Japan. It's like, think of Artisan, but even more based. So it's going in the seal of approval. Is it worth $100? No. But the fact it even costs $100, that's the Sigma Male Xten grind set. But really, the Xten Control is all hype. There's nothing about it when you're using it that makes it feel $40 better than, say, an Artisan Zero or something. But it is really nice, and if you're a mousepad addict, you'll probably get it. Bone Pad, holy shit, this mousepad was bad a year ago. I don't even know if the company exists anymore. Dog shit. Gutzy Aiden mousepad, TikTok mousepads. These are huge. If you don't know about them, you're blessed. I think this is the same surface as like the Xtrfy GP1, maybe Inked Gaming. So it's just an OEM surface with some designs on it. It's really not special. It's a bit overpriced, but hey, there's like the TikTok culture, which is why it should be dog shit. But hey, follow my TikTok. High Star, another TikTok mousepad. I would say these are even worse. This is the worst Hien clone I've tried. It was like 5mm, but it had low quality foam. It was very inconsistent. It was just bad all around, and it was overpriced. So yeah, just dog shit. Avoid it. Lethal Gaming Gear Venus. This is a pad I've tried recently. I did give it the seal of approval because it's one of the few pads that I would say competes with the Artisan Hayate Otsu, or offers you a sort of budget variant. It's a $30 hybrid pad, which just means faster than cloth, I'm accepting. But compared to a Hien, a GTFX, any really heavily textured pad, this is going to be a bit more smoothed out and smoother dynamic friction, and just all around good quality stitching and rubber backing. The G640 is actually what I'm using right now. I found a fresh unopened one when I was looking for another mousepad, and I think I'll throw this in the B tier. It has a very disposable feeling to it. It is affected by humidity, which is terrible. I don't understand why it's like the esports standard when that's the case. It's also affected by temperature. It's a bit more slick if it's colder in your room, and honestly, if it's not being affected by humidity and it's cold, it's a pretty fast mousepad. So I understand why people are okay with it. It just feels very standard and disposable. That's why it's not like in a higher tier, but at least it isn't like massively overpriced. The QCK, it has been around for so long, it has remained the exact same, and it has never been good. It's not absolute dog shit because it is so cheap. It's the best selling mousepad I think ever. It's pretty safe to assume. I think they plastered it on the boxes. Subliminal messaging. But yeah, it's fucking available everywhere. It's sold a ton. It's just very average, affected by humidity and temperature pretty massively, nearly on the same level as some of the Zowie pads. And overall, it's not an endgame mousepad. You will be able to use it, and if you don't like need a solid mousepad for gaming, I mean, picking one up for under $15, you can't say it's a scam. You're just not getting a great product. Fnatic Dash, Glorious Fire, the exact same thing. I would throw them in the B tier. Like, they are made by the exact same manufacturer. The only difference is the logo, and they're just average Hien clones. They're very smoothed out. They were some of the first to come out, and they didn't do it well. And when I say Hien clone, I'm referring to any mousepad that tries to imitate the Artisan Hien surface, which was really just looked at as the gold standard, moving away from a standard like smoothed out cloth pad to a textured surface. It's faster, but it still has control due to the texture. It's resistant to humidity, temperature, and all around extremely durable. So you could just like buy the original thing for $60 to $65, but that seems to be incredibly hard for some people to do. So, you know, fucking give attention to the Hien clones. GSRC, I would throw this in the C tier. It was massively hyped up for Fortnite, but there was nothing about it that makes it distinctly good for for Fortnite. For me, I used this before I even started YouTube, and I noticed that it was just terribly inconsistent. I live in New York, and I found out it was due to humidity. So I just can't really recommend buying it. There are lots of better control pad options, which I'll get into. The Artisan Hayate Otsu. This is the new edition. There used to be an old edition, but that's obsolete, so I'll just throw it in dog shit. But the updated Hayate Otsu is marketed by Artisan as a better Hien. It's their take on a non-abrasive textured surface, and it really just is, along with the Xten Control, one of the most premium feeling mouse pads. It's a bit more expensive than the Hien. It's not a necessity to try, but if you want to see like what a high quality mouse pad feels like, I would say the Otsu is what you should go for. Of course, there's the Venus, which is a budget-ish version. Now we have Pledge on your desk. So really, no matter what your desk is made out of, as long as it's a hard surface, if you take some Pledge furniture spray, yes, I have it on my desk. Make sure to leave a like for that. You can spray it on your desk, just spread it out, and it creates a coating. And you can use that as like a makeshift DIY hard pad for cheaper than any of the mouse pads you see on this list. And I don't know, just throw it in dog shit. Got me a lot of views on TikTok though. So that's really all that matters. Now we have the Glorious Ice. Which is another mousepad that was just a complete flop. It was a mousepad that had really bad quality control, which is what you hate to see. The stitching was bad. The rubber backing was bad. It had horrible consistency. It was just, I mean, I don't know, it was one of the worst mousepad releases in recent memory. This is the Helios / Glorious Air. I've been told they're the same thing. I haven't tried the Air, though. I don't know if this is C or B tier, because if you want a plastic mousepad, it's cheap, and it's kind of just what you're going to get with a plastic mousepad. I wouldn't recommend using PTFE feet on it, so it really means it's for nobody, but for the few people that want that super low friction plastic mousepad experience, I mean, I guess it's an option. Next up was this, the Odin Infinity, seal of approval. This is one of the better Hien clones that is out there, just period. And it's crazy coming from Odin Gaming. Let me find the Zero Gravity, which is just not a good mousepad, and they really seem to take the criticism, and they made a solid surface. The stitching and the rubber backing is good, so the quality is good, and it really just is a budget Hien. As I said before, you can just buy the Hien, skip the steps, but a lot of people would prefer the option at half the price. And the Shidenkai kind of just snuck into the S tier. I don't know if I would put it there or the A tier. It used to be looked down upon because it had a shitty coating, or not shitty coating. The coating itself plays very interesting. Actually glass infused, not a scam like the Glorious Ice. But it didn't last for a very long time. But if the coating wears out on your Shidenkai, you can just rip it off and you will get essentially a Hien. It's not the exact same like surface feeling, but that's basically Artisan just puts the layer on top of the Hien surface. So I would say it's S tier. It's something cool, but it's not necessarily worth it. The Odin Zero Gravity. This is a pad, I don't know if it's C tier or dog shit. It was just a very bad cloth surface. There was some controversy, but I feel like they've really proven themselves to be a legit company at this point. They're in micro centers, but yeah, I was just never a fan of the Odin Zero Gravity. I made a video calling it garbage, which is why I was so surprised when the Infinity turned out insane. The GTFX, this is kind of an underrated mousepad. I feel like a lot of people who want a very rough textured surface don't really look for it. There was one like notorious QC issue where it would never lie flat. I didn't experience that, but I saw people complaining about it. It has the SR base. I think in my review I gave it the seal of approval, but after learning about that QC issue and overall just the surface being a bit too rough for my liking, I'll throw it in the S tier, but not seal of approval. The GSR, I'll put this in the B tier. I'm personally not a mud pad lover. I don't love it when my mouse pad is just providing tons of friction, but some people do, and the GSR is one of the best options. The Lethal Gaming Gear Jupiter, made out of melted umbrella fabric, is coming out, and it's another mud pad option, but the GSR, it's something that I was never able to like a lot, and it is horribly affected by humidity and temperature. But I know a lot of people who play slower paced games do love the GSR. The Artisan Zero, seal of approval, honestly in my top 2 mouse pads of all time with the Hien. It's a standard control surface, but the quality, the texture feeling, and long-term durability are unmatched. I know that a lot of people complain about hair getting stuck in the mouse pad, and it does happen. It doesn't affect the consistency, so that is the one flaw, but that's not even remotely keeping it out of the seal of approval. And you gotta realize, you could buy like 2 or 3 G640s a year, or you could just buy one Artisan Zero and be set for multiple years. Food for thought, but really, the quality is incredible. The Pferdeki pad is something that is massively underrated. This is a $10 Glide 38 clone, so it's actually like a plastic textured hybrid pad. It has a silicone base, I think. I don't know how it's so cheap, but after I made my review of it, it got like scalped and then it's sold out. So I don't know if it's really available, but if it is and you're on that extreme budget, I mean $10 for a double XL pad, what the fuck? Next up is the Skypad, which I would say is the most widely available glass mouse pad, and it's not something that I really love. It is sort of expensive at $70, and I feel like it makes sense. It lasts forever. That is a benefit. One thing I don't like is you essentially have to wear a sleeve, because it is kind of just a slab of glass on your desk. It's thick. It's not really comfortable to rest your arm on, and it will get sticky if it's hot. Also, if there's a speck of dust, you can feel it on your mouse skates. It's just a massive inconvenience. I am not glass mousepad pilled, but I still understand the appeal. Inked gaming, not really much to say. Very standard cloth control surface. I know a lot of Fortnite players use it. It's nothing special. It's a better buy than the GSR SE, and you can get any print on it. So I guess it could be an S tier because it's dirt cheap as well. But I don't think in terms of quality it competes with the Artisan Zero. Next up is the Linus Tech Tips Northern Lights desk mat. I would say this is a B tier mousepad. I don't know if the current drops are still this way, but when I purchased it, you could get any size for $30, and they had some huge sizes. It's a cool design. I know he made an updated video about how well it can track. It's kind of meaningless. All of these pads are going to have like perfect tracking capabilities. And yeah, B tier, just an average controlled like desk mat surface, and it's Linus merch, but it's good quality. I was impressed. Minerva, B tier. It's literally just think of a slightly more GSR SE like G640. If that means nothing to you, I don't care. Minerva, B tier. MP510, I would say this is the definition of a C tier mousepad. Cooler Master has updated with the MP511, which is just a better version. The MP510 was super rough, so it seems like they took that feedback, and there was an issue with an X and Y difference. The MP511 does have a lot more consistent feeling surface, and it's much less abrasive, but it has a QC issue where it will not lie flat no matter what I can do. I saw people in my comments being like, oh, you just gotta use it for a few weeks. So maybe that's the case, but I would say MP511's B tier. It's good because it's widely available, but it's not good because it doesn't lie perfectly flat, which, like Cooler Master, it seems like they always have some issue. The MPC 450 is Cordura, and it is, in my opinion, one of the best speed mouse pads out there. It is still a controllable surface. It has a jean-like surface, it feels, sort of like denim, I guess. And it is just significantly faster than a lot of these other mouse pads. Very low initial friction and dynamic friction. I consider it slightly better than an Artisan Raiden even. Ironically, there have been reports of spinouts on the MPC 450. I have heard in my comments. People bitched at me for months about it. And with the Raiden, I don't know if it's seal of approval or S tier, because I noticed when I pulled my mid Raiden out, it definitely lost some speed, and even after washing it, it did have that slick feel it used to. The texture still feels the same, which is very smooth. And the spinouts really don't seem to be an issue with 3370s like on the final mouse. It does seem to be an issue with Logitech mice, which is unfortunate, so I don't know if that will ever be fixed, so it can go in S tier along with the Shidenkai. Now the MPX, which is a mousepad that a lot of people probably don't know about. Endgame Gear released it. It was super expensive. I don't think anybody bought it. Do they even sell it anymore? Probably. Now the Neon Pad, the first eSport Tiger pad on this list. It's a very smooth surface to the touch. It's extremely controlled, but it gets super muddy after some use. So I don't know. It belongs maybe C tier, B tier. It has a cool design that doesn't make it worth any more money, and yeah, just Esport Tiger Pad. I can speed run through a few of these. King Sui, don't buy it. Longchain Quoyun, just a worse Aqua Control Plus. Well, it's the same thing, just a bit more expensive. I don't even want to bother pronouncing it. It's like it's just bad. It's bad, man. The Ling Yun, that one's decent. That one can go in the B tier. It's sort of like a modified Aqua Control Plus. Think about the Strata, kind of close to that. It's not a grainy surface either. It's just a decent hybrid feeling surface. And the Longtang Benji Fishy's old mouse pad, same thing as the Neon, except it lasts a bit longer. Just a standard feeling control pad, about the same as a GSR SE, maybe a bit better. And oh my god, it has a tiger on it. But yeah, nothing really special. It could be in the B tier, depends on who you ask. Now, the Lethal Gaming Gear Jupiter. I'll put this in the A tier. As I said before, I am not a mud pad lover, but I understand that people can enjoy it. With super light mice, think like under 50 grams, I actually do enjoy using slower cloth control pads. This is made out of a melted umbrella fabric, so it is more consistent with humidity than something like the GSR. Obviously, people are going to have to get it in hand to compare. I think the quality on my copy is great. I will post a full review soon, but yeah, it's nothing that I like super strongly recommend. But I think mudpad lovers will rejoice. And next up is the Dechanic Control, which is no longer being made. It's not a dogshit pad, but you cannot get in the larger sizes anymore. If you want that surface, you can try the Mousepad Company, which is a very close version. There was some controversy last year, but it's kind of irrelevant now. And also the Esport Tiger Eba, which I would say is one of their best pads. And because I was actually a fan of the OG Dechanic Control, my bias puts it into like the S tier. Realistically, it's probably around like A tier, S tier if you want a controlled textured surface, because there's not many that's like strictly focus on control. It's like slower than an Aqua Control Plus, let's say. Personally, I fucking hate the Aqua Control Plus now. I know I made a lot of videos in the past saying it was good. I still think it's a great texture, like a good budget pad. But the amount of questions I get asked about, like, oh, should I get the Strata or the black or white? It doesn't fucking matter, man. Get whatever your heart desires. Get whatever looks coolest to you. It's just a disproportionate amount of Aqua Control Plus questions, and I hate it. But yeah, it probably still belongs in the S tier. I hate the rubber backing on Xraypad products, though. That needs to fucking improve. That's why it's not on the seal of approval anymore. Well, and other reasons. Like, I understand that there are differences between the variants. It is just they are not as significant as you want to believe that they are. Mousepad Company, I'll throw us in the 8. It might even belong in the B tier because it is sort of expensive. But if you like the design, you probably feel like it's a steal. It's just a super abrasive texture. I feel like the Eba is a safer and slightly better quality option. And I would say that the GameSense Radar V2 belongs in the A tier. It's $35, a 500 by 500 size. I'm using it right now. You can see, wow, crazy swirl design. And it's just an average control surface. The quality of the pad is good. I would say it's better than the pads in this, like a Minerva in terms of quality. And now it has the good designs. The Slothmat was the first, like, mouse pad I ever used. I don't know why I got it. It was probably, like, an ironic purchase. But yeah, the company shut down. Okay, now the Xtrfy GP4. I'm going to put this in the A tier. I know some people like it, especially on slower paced games, but it is a controlled surface. It's very slow. It's not smooth either. But that's not the issue. My issue is that it's a slower y-axis than the x-axis, and it's just amplified because the mousepad is so slow to begin with. Some people complain that it smells bad out of the box, but that's not like a major issue. I just don't put it, I can't see it being like seal of approval or S tier, and apparently it's no longer coded. That word's definition is rapidly changing. Now the Grandmaster, I would say this is A tier, one of Esport Tiger's better pads. It's a very low friction surface, but if you put in pressure, it becomes extremely controllable. The special edition, which is the one in this picture you shouldn't buy, but the black one with pink stitching for $30. It's an interesting pad. It's not something I really love, and I would just prefer, once again, an MPC 450 over it. The Hayate Kou is probably my least favorite Artisan mousepad. I don't think it's really worth buying for anybody. Its main quirk is that it has a faster y-axis than the x-axis, and it's like much faster. I don't even think it belongs in the S tier, but yeah, it's just like a worse Hayate Otsu. This is the Astolfo Pad. It was terrible. It had like a wrist rest. It was so bad. So yeah, dog shit mousepad. The Puretrak Talent. This is a very cool mousepad. It's been around for around 15 years. Very popular in Quake and shit. And it's low initial friction, low dynamic friction, but it's a cloth pad. So it was like a silky, uncoated cloth pad. The pricing is dirt cheap as well. It ships out of the US, and it's been around for an extremely long time. It does lack stitched edges, thicker foam, and I think it's just solid and extremely underrated. Okay, the Eve Corduroy mousepad. These are so boring to talk about. Just kidding. This is so awesome. I would say it's S tier. It is a controlled corduroy mousepad if you're not a fan of the MPC 450 style. I would say it's better quality than an MP511, and I did get a defective one, but the company proved to me that the stitching is generally more flat than the one that I received. So I know there was some controversy. I don't know why mousepad companies have so much controversy. But yeah, it's sick. I can recommend it. Good pricing, lots of sizes. Xraypad Thor, can't recommend it. It was one of my first like speedier pads, and it is cool. It has a coating, but once it wears out, it gets muddy. It's affected by humidity, and yeah, it's cool at first, and I just don't recommend buying disposable pads like this. Definite C tier. Tray gun, I would put this in the A tier. It's another corduroy mousepad. God, I would say it's sort of an Artisan Raiden competitor. As I mentioned with the Aqua Control Plus, the base is dog shit. The stitching isn't spectacular, but the surface is very smooth, low initial friction. And if that's what you're into, I would say this, the Grandmaster, there are options to consider. Pokimane Mousepad, I actually burned this mousepad. That's so crazy. It was a desk mat. It kind of sucked. It was like really low quality. But you know, it's Pokimane merch, whatever. Razer Acari. I honestly don't care. Just going in dog shit. Was that a hard pad? Yeah, it had like durability issues. Wow, surprising. Plastic mousepad, not durable. And last but not least, the Equate Plus, which I guess could go in the B tier, the C tier. It's another one of those textured, sort of grainy control pads, and it is slow as fuck. Or am I thinking of the standard Equate? I don't care. I just finished this tier list. And yeah, this is the mousepad tier list, the Aqua Control Plus white. That means nothing. I already talked about the Aqua Control Plus. I'll just keep it there for people who skip to the end to see the completed tier list. They won't be in on it. But yeah, that's all for the actual construction of the tier list. I don't know. I want to move the Ink Gaming Pad down to fucking A tier. It doesn't feel right being in the S tier. If you want something extremely high quality, go for something in the S tier or Seal of Approval. Seal of Approval, these are the pads I'm consistently using. LGG Mercury is coming out soon. That's going to be a Hien clone. Presume it'll be S tier, Seal of Approval. And another mousepad coming out on the 17th that will blow your mind. So make sure to turn on noties for that video. But yeah, I tried to keep this video a bit shorter, despite increasing the number of pads, so I hope it wasn't too insufferable. But if it was, I don't care. Like and sub if you enjoyed. That's all. We'll see you in 6 months to update this tier list. Peace.